This video is on alcohol and addiction. Alcohol addiction, also known as alcoholism, is a disease that affects people of all walks of life. Experts have tried to pinpoint factors like genetics, sex, race, or socioeconomics that may predispose someone to alcohol addiction, but it has no single cause. Psychological, genetic, and behavioral factors can all contribute to having the disease. It's important to note that alcoholism is a real disease. It can cause changes to the brain and neurochemistry. So a person with an alcohol addiction may not be able to control their actions. Alcohol addiction can show itself in a variety of ways. The severity of the disease, how often someone drinks, and the alcohol they consume varies from person to person. Some people drink heavily all day, while others binge drink and they stay sober for a while. Regardless of how the addiction looks, someone typically has an alcohol addiction if they heavily rely on drinking and can't stay sober for an extended period of time. Alcohol addiction can be different to recognize. Unlike cocaine or heroin, alcohol is widely available and accepted in many cultures. It's often at the center of social situations and closely linked to celebrations and enjoyment. Drinking is a part of life for many people. When it is common in society, it can be hard to tell the difference between someone who likes to have a few drinks now and then and someone with a real problem. Some symptoms of alcohol addiction are increased quality or frequency of use, high tolerance for alcohol or lack of hangover symptoms, drinking at inappropriate times, such as first thing in the morning or in places like church or work, wanting to be where alcohol is present and avoiding situations where there is none, changes in friendship. Someone with an alcohol addiction may choose friends who also drink heavily, avoiding contact with loved ones, hiding alcohol or hiding while drinking, dependency on alcohol to function in everyday life, increased lethargy, depression, or other emotional issues, legal or professional problems such as an interest or such as an arrest or loss of job. As an addiction tends to get worse over time, it's important to look for early warning signs. If identified and treated early, someone with an alcohol addiction may be able to avoid major consequences of the disease. If you're worried that someone you know has an alcohol addiction, it's best to approach them in a supportive way. Avoid shaming them or making them feel guilty. This could push them away or make them more resistant to your help. Alcohol addiction can result in heart disease and liver disease. Both can be fatal. Alcoholism can cause ulcers, diabetes complications, sexual problems, birth defects, bone loss, vision problems, increased risk of cancer, suppressed immune functions. If someone with an alcohol addiction takes dangerous risks while driving, they can also put others at risk. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, drunk driving, for example, takes 28 lives every day in the United States. Drinking is also associated with an increase in incidence of suicide and homicide. These complications are reasons why it's important to treat alcohol addiction early. Nearly all risks involved with alcohol addiction may be avoidable or treatable with successful long-term recovery. So, what are the treatment options for alcoholism? Treating alcohol addiction can be complex and challenging. In order for treatment to work, the person with an alcohol addiction must want to get sober. You can't force them to stop drinking if they aren't ready. Success depends on the person's desire to get better. The recovery process for alcoholism is a lifetime commitment. There isn't a quick fix. And it involves daily care. For this reason, many people say alcohol addiction is never cured. Some of the common recovery support groups include Alcoholics Anonymous, which is one of the most well-known recovery support groups. It is a self-help peer support organization open to anyone who battles alcohol abuse concerns and wishes to remain abstinent. AA follows 12-step format that asks its members to admit that alcohol has been in control of their lives and to turn themselves over to a higher power. There's also the SMART recovery, which is self-management and recovery training. This is a non-12-step program. It focuses on a 4-point program that helps individuals to build motivation, manage cravings, emotions, and behaviors, and learn how to live in a well-balanced life. It is also seen as a non-spiritual alternative to AA. Smart recovery programs help individuals learn to develop skills for positive lifestyle changes to aid in the sustaining recovery and sobriety. There's also moderation management. This takes a different approach. Instead, members are able to continue to drink alcohol in moderation. It focuses on eliminating problematic drinking and negative behaviors associated with them through the steps of change. This may not be practical for everyone and holds that drinking in moderation may be acceptable. It teaches tools for managing problem drinking and how to control it. It offers virtual and face-to-face meetings as well. Another way is Secular Organization for Sobriety, which is a nonprofit organization. It hosts both online and in-person recovery support group meetings for individuals seeking sobriety. Membership is free. Groups are secular in nature and therefore not attached to any religion or spiritual group. These recovery support groups are not governed by connected to any outside group or organization. There's also Women for Sobriety, which is a nonprofit focused specifically on the needs of women in recovery. They use 13 acceptance statements to help women modify self-destructive behaviors, thoughts for a full and healthy recovery, free from alcohol and drugs. They're supposed to spend time each morning and each evening thinking about the 13 acceptance statements and how they apply to their lives. They provide peer support and aid in changing negative thoughts. Healthcare professionals can also help you by providing 2 treatments for alcohol use disorder: talk therapy, so a licensed therapist can talk to you one-on-one in a family or group session, and then there's also some medications that can help. These 2 options can be used in combination or tailored to the individual needs. So what is the outlook for alcoholism? Early treatment of alcoholism is most effective. Addictions that have gone on longer are harder to break. However, long-term addictions can be successfully treated. Friends and family members of people who have alcohol addiction can benefit from professional support like Al-Anon, which is described for family members with addiction. Someone with an addiction who has remained sober for months or years may find themselves drinking again. They may binge drink once or drink for a period of time before getting sober again. But a relapse doesn't indicate failure. It's important that the person get back on track and resume treatment. Ultimately, sobriety is the responsibility of the person who has the alcohol addiction. Personally, I've never got to the point of having an addiction, but I have come close. When I was younger, I used to love the taste of vodka. But when it was brought to my attention, I hadn't become an addict yet, and I was able to stop the behaviors quickly. But if I didn't have that kind of thing in my life, I think I probably would have. It runs in the family. My dad had an addiction. So I knew that I always had that in me. But luckily I was able to have support.